Suppose you just ran a survey and you want to see if there is a difference in the responses with those who took the survey between males and females. One of the ways you could do that is average out all the scores and run a t-test. That's the purpose of a t-test, is to determine if there's a significant difference between the averages of two groups of scores. And so that's what this tutorial is about, is how to run a t-test and determine that. You will also need to write up your findings. So say you're going to do a report on the t-test findings. Here is a sample of what you might say in that report. Based on an independent sample t-test, the mean score for group 1 was significantly less than the mean score for group 2, or you could say the mean score for males was significantly less than the mean score for females. And these are all the data points that you would need for each of those items. And so that's what we're going to do. We're going to use Excel and run a t-test and obtain all of this information so you could do a report on whether there are significant differences between two survey scores. First thing you need to do is open your Excel document and make sure that you have the Data Analysis Tool Pack installed. It comes with the software, but it's an add-on that you have to install manually. So to do that, open up your Excel, go to File, right up here, and go to Options. Okay, then you would go to Add-ins, and then you'd go down to Excel Add-ins, Go, and then you want to check the Analysis Tool Pack, click OK, and once you do that, it shows up on the Data tab right over here in Data Analysis. Once you have that installed, then you have to get your data ready. So as I mentioned, you're going to have your survey results, and it'll probably come out in an Excel sheet like this, and each column will have one item from the survey, and each row will represent one participant in the survey. So this would be one person's responses, this would be another person's responses, and so on. In this particular sheet, we have column A, where I've labeled it as group, and we have the number 1 will represent one gender and number 2 will represent the other gender. You can indicate which one is which as you set up your survey. And then in the second column we have your survey item, whatever it may be, and all of the scores that each person did, and they're lined up there accordingly. And most of your sheets will have a number of columns with all of the different survey items. Say you've got 10 survey questions, you'll probably have 10 survey items. So once you get all your data in a spreadsheet like this, it'll be good to organize it before you start running your statistics. And the way I do this is I take and I highlight the first row here, and then I go to my Home tab up here, and then I go over here and I go to Sort and Filter, and I add a filter to it. And this allows me to sort column A from smallest to largest, and this puts all of my 1s at the top and my 2s at the bottom. That's the first thing to do. So just a quick review, here's the data points we need for the report. We need the mean or the average score for group 1 and group 2 for the survey item. We need the standard deviation for group 1 and group 2. By the way, I'm not going to define what these terms are. That's for Statistics 101. This is just for your report. You'll need something called degrees of freedom, the t-test value, and the p-value. The first thing we're going to do is get the mean and the standard deviation for the two groups. In order to do that, you go back to your data, check the Data tab, Data Analysis, and then what we want to do is we want what are called descriptive statistics. So you find that in your list of analysis tools, highlight that, click OK. And then in your input range, you will want to put your cursor and then get your sheet organized to where you're up here, group 1. And you select the first row in column A. This is your survey response. And so you select this first item here, and then you scroll your sheet down to the end of the group 1s, you'll see, and then hold the shift key down and select the last score in that column. And you'll notice over here in your descriptive statistics that that range of scores has been listed there. Then you want to check off what's called summary statistics and click OK. This opens another tab on your sheet. You'll notice down at the bottom of the sheet here, another tab. I'm going to enlarge this for your viewing. And then you'll want to label this as group 1, relabel this I should say. And then here is your mean score, here is your standard deviation for group 1. Now we go back to the tab where our data is, click that, and we're going to do the same thing for group 2. Click Data Analysis, Descriptive Statistics, and then we want to clear out this data here and find the beginning of group 2 scores. Just scroll down, put your cursor there, select the first score for group 2, and then scroll down to the bottom of group 2, hold the shift key and select the last score. This puts your range of cells right there. Select Summary Statistics, click OK. Another tab opens. We will label this, we'll first enlarge it for your viewing, relabel this group 2. And once again, you have your mean score and your standard deviation. So now what we want to do is, we have our group 1 tab here. We want to take this mean score and put it on our worksheet over here. Group 1 mean score is 4.35. That's what we'll put there. And the standard deviation for group 1 is right here. And we will put that on our worksheet over here, 1.02. Then we'll look at the other tab. For our group 2 descriptive statistics, the mean score is 4.63 and the standard deviation score is, according to this, 1.04. Okay, so now we have our descriptive statistics. Next thing we're going to do is go back to the Excel sheet, get back on your tab with your data, scroll up to the top, and before we actually run the t-test, we have to determine whether the variances between the two groups' scores are equal or unequal. Again, I'm not going to explain that, we're just going to do it. Hit your Data Analysis tab, and then go to what's called the F-Test2 Sample for Variances option. Click OK, and in this case, you're going to be able to put both groups of scores in there. So you want to clear out any group ranges that happen to be in there already. And then, so we want to get the scores for group 1, put our cursor in the variable 1 range, select the first score there, scroll down to the end of group 1 scores, hold the shift key, then click. Put your cursor in variable 2 range, select the first score for variable 2, scroll down to the bottom of variable 2 ranges, shift key down, click, and you've got your range of scores there. You don't have to do any other things, the defaults are good. You'll click OK. A new tab opens up, and here is your F-test data right here. I will enlarge this for you. And the thing you need to know with F-tests is whether these variances here are what's going to be called a significant difference or not. And in order to determine that, if this score right here, P, F less than equals F 1 tail, is less than 0.05, then your variances are unequal. In this case, that score is greater than 0.05. You'll notice it's 0.35. Therefore, these variances are, for all intents and purposes, equal. So what that tells us is we're going to run the t-test for equal variances assumed. Go back to your t-test data, scroll up to the top, and we're ready to run the t-test. Hit your Data Analysis option, and then you're going to look for the t-test to sample assuming equal variances. Click that, OK, and then we'll make sure our cell ranges are clear here. Put your cursor in variable 1 range and then repeat the process that you did for the f-test. Select the first score for group 1, then scroll down, shift key down, select the last score for group 1, put your cursor in there for group 2, and then select the first score for group 2, scroll down, select the last score in group 2. After the shift key is down, your variable ranges are there, all the options are default are good. Click OK, and here's your t-test output. I will enlarge it, and now we have the rest of our data. This is what's called degrees of freedom. Remember, we needed that for our data point over here. We'll write that down. That is 651. Our t-test value is right here. t-stat it's called. Negative 3.50. We'll write that down here. Negative 3.50. And the last thing we need is the p-value. And that is right here. P-value 2-tail. And that's 0.0004, and so what was really important for us is whether or not this p-value is going to be less than 0.05. In this case, it is not only less than 0.05, it is what we're going to say less than 0.01, and or more specifically, it is 0.00049. There you have all of your data points that you need for your narrative. Now it's just a matter of writing the narrative. Once again, we said based on an independent sample t-test, the mean score for group 1, this could be males, was significantly less than the mean score for group 2, or females. And here's all your data points put in there. The mean score for group 1, standard deviation for group 1, mean score for group 2, so on. Your t-test is preceded by your degrees of freedom, in this case 651, your t-test score, negative 3.504, we did 3 decimal points, and your p-value is less than 0.01.